The last new lesson for this is using logs. We're going to use logs to solve equations. Okay? The equations that we see today don't have logs. I'm not talking about the first page. I'm talking about the second page, one we actually do. First page is something different. Okay, so we're going to use them. Okay, so before we get to that, though, something that I wanted to show you for your benefit. This is not for my benefit. This is for your benefit. It's something called a change of base formula. Okay, so when you use a calculator, any calculator, Desmos, Delta Math calculator, those calculators in the back, anytime you use a calculator, there's only two buttons that are going to be available to you. Log, ln. Okay? So log means when it has a base of 10. Ln means when it has a base of e. But let's say we have a problem like a, 1a, has a base of 8. I can't use my calculator. I can't change the base. The calculator only comes with two bases, 10 and e. So how do I use my calculator? There is a way to do it, but it's not the way you think. It's called using the change of base formula. Okay? So the way we do this, we've seen these types of problems, right? They're trying to figure out what that's equal to, right? So we've used loop, right? The loop trick. Eight to what power makes 30? I know 8 to the first power makes 8. I know 8 to the second power makes 64, but I don't know what exactly is there, right? So how do I do this? Well, you can't go to your calculator because it doesn't have a base of 10 or a base of e. But you can actually use your calculator. You just got to use the change of base formula. Okay? Change of base formula says if you want to do problems like this, you do a regular log for the guy here, for the guy in parentheses, over a regular log for the base. You go to your calculator next. You say, okay, division. The log's under the log is there. It's just if you're using Delta Math or Photomat or Desmos, it's under the function. You hit the LOG button. LOG button. So we want on top, I want 30. On bottom, I want 8. It's a decimal. That's why you couldn't do it in your head, because it's a decimal, right? We couldn't do that one in my head. So that's the power. That's the power it would take to go from 8 to 30, right? But we couldn't do that in our head because it's a decimal, right? So you can use your calculator. So they want us to round to the nearest thousandth. Okay, so the thousandth is right here, right? So let's go back to my calculator. So the thousandth is the 5. So 5 can stay or it can go up. Well, the 6 to the right of it says go up. So it's going to be 1.636. 1.636. That's the power to make 8 into 30. Okay. All right, let's do the next one. Again, first thing, try the loop trick. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, we'll use change of base. So what power is it going to take to make 9 into 4? No clue. All right. Well, then let's use the change of base. Take log of 4 over a log of 9. Go to my calculator. Most likely it's going to be a decimal. Thousandth, 0. So the 0 has two choices, stay or go up. Well, the 9 says go up, yeah, so it's going to be 0.631. 0.631. That's the power it's going to take. Well, again, it's things like that where you can't do it in your head, use the change of base. Because I get questions like this all the time. On tests. On test days, I get questions like this all the time. Mr. Flores, I tried the loop, it doesn't work. How do I get that? And then I can't. How do I use my calculator to change 9 to the base? My answer is the calculator can't do that. It can, but you got to know the change of base formula, which is in your notes. Okay. All right. Okay. Letter C. Well, first thing, change natural log ln to log with a base of e. So e to what power makes 50? I don't know. E is a decimal on its own. So to do that in your head, you can't really. So let's use the change of base. So we got log of 50 on top, log of e on the bottom. We're going to put that into my calculator, and we're going to get most likely a decimal, because that's why we couldn't do it in our head. Okay, so log of 50 over log of e. 50 e. There you go. 3.912023 keeps going. Well, round to the thousandth. So that's going to be 2. It's going to stay 2 because 0 is right behind it. So 3.912. 3.912. That's the power. Almost 4 power. 3.912. All right. So that's how to do logs on your calculator. That's how to use your calculator to do logs. Now, how do I use logs? You look at these 4 problems here. The word log isn't in any one of them. So we're not gonna, they're not log equations, but we're gonna use logs. So the first thing we're gonna do is put a equal sign or a line down the middle. So we're gonna use 4 steps. The first step, I wanna get the base is 10, the power is x divided by 5, that's the power. I wanna get those by itself on one side of the blue line. Well, it's done, there's nothing else over here. So step 1, they actually did for us. Step 2, change it to a log. So how do we change it to a log? We haven't done this in a while. So I'm gonna just a little reminder. Remember, we had the loop trick when I want to get rid of the log, right? So what do you do to add a log or to get a log? Well, you use the L. If you remember, L starts at the top, goes to the other side, comes back up, comes over, just like that. Starts with a log. First number it hits is 10. So it's going to be log with a base of 10. Then it comes over to 57. That's going to go in parentheses. And then the last thing it hit was x divided by 5. Okay. The reason I did that was because I can't solve if it's up in the sky. X was up in the sky. I can't solve if it's up there. I got to bring it down to the ground. The only way to do that is by using a log. Okay? Okay, so X is over here. How do I get it by itself? What do I do? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide. I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. Since it's divided by 5, the opposite is multiply by 5. So I get X equals 5 times log base of 10 of 57. That's the exact answer. That's an answer right here. This is an answer. But it's exact. They don't want the exact answer today. They want us to round the answer. So I got to put that in my calculator. Okay? So watch when you do this. To do this, you're going to have to use the change of base like we did in the front. So that part, I'm going to have to change to this for me to use my calculator. And then I have a 5 times in the front, right? That's what I'm going to put in my calculator. Okay. So division, log. On top I had 57. On bottom I had 10. And then in the front I had 5 times. So your answer is 8.77937, blah, 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 blah. Well, they want us to round this time. They want us to round to the 100th. 100th. 100th is only 2 spaces. So that's the second 7. So the second 7 is going to go up to become an 8. 8.78. 8.78. Done. Okay. All right, let's do letter B. Okay, so again, I want to get this guy by itself. But this time, I don't have just that guy. I have a 50 in front. So I have 4 options. I can add, subtract, multiply, or divide to get rid of the 50. I can only choose one of them. Which am I going to do? Am I going to add 50 to both sides to get rid of it, subtract 50, divide by 50, or multiply by 50? So I see a lot of people say, I get the 2 answers. These are the 2 answers I get. Subtract 50, divide by 50. Those are the 2 answers. One of them's right. My question is, what is 50 doing with the rest? Is it 50 being added to the rest, or is it being multiplied by the rest? It's being multiplied, right? So if it's being multiplied, I got to do the opposite of that. So that's why I wouldn't subtract, I would divide here. If that dot was a plus, subtract it. But because it's being multiplied, the opposite is division. So I get 9 over 50. Leave it as 9 over 50. Don't round it yet, because we're going to round at the end. Okay, so now I just have the power and the base. Good there. Step 1 done. Step 2, change, bring a log. So you're going to bring the L. L always starts with a log. So it's going to be log with a base of 3, so the 3 is going to go down under. Parentheses, 9 over 50 equals 3 times x. because that's the order in which the L hit the numbers. Okay, that was step 2. Step 3, get x by itself. So what am I going to do to get rid of, to separate 3 and x? Divide. This is the exact answer, but they want us to round it, so we're going to have to round it. Be careful when you do that, though, because this part here, I'm going to have to use the change of base. So in my calculator, I'm going to say and then I'm going to divide by 3, and then I'll get my answer. So it's going to be a 2-step thing in my calculator. This is the way you're going to simplify this. Going to get a decimal. That's not my answer. I got to continue dividing by 3. Okay, so write that down and I'll show you. Okay, so when I go to my calculator, try this with me. If you have your phone out handy and you got Desmos app, or go to desmos.com, try this with me. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do this fraction first. Log of 9 over 50 over log of 3. Log is the function, so you got to go to the function, F-U-N-C. Log, oh wait, I should have done a fraction first. Log on top, log on bottom. So the one on top, 99 over 50. 9 divided by 50. The log on bottom was 3. Okay, so I get a negative number. It's okay. That's not my finished answer, though. I want to divide it by 3 as well. So then I'm going to take my previous answer, divide it by 3. That's my finished answer. That's the one I'm going to round. So they want the 100th. So the 100th is the 2. So to the right is a 0. So the 2 is going to stay. So negative 0.52. Negative 0.52. Done. Okay. All right, we've got 2 more, we're done. I'm not going to give you any extras today. We're just 2 more and we're done. It's more of the same type of stuff. They're just longer equations. So more steps, but it's the same type of stuff. Okay. All right. Equal sign. Step 1 is get the yellow by itself. Get the yellow by itself. Well, right now it's got a 5 times in front, and it's got a -2 after that. Right? It's got a 5 times in front, and it's got a -2 after that. Okay? So I got to get rid of those things by using addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So first thing we're going to do is the -2. We're going to get rid of that. So we're going to add 2 to both sides. $58. Okay. Now I need to get rid of the 5. I'm not going to add. I'm not going to subtract. This one I'm going to divide because it's being multiplied, right? So divide both sides by 5. It doesn't divide to make an easy, nice, pretty number, so I'm just going to leave it as a fraction. Doesn't divide to make a nice whole number, so I'm going to leave it like that. Step 1 is done. Now I got just this part by itself. Step 2, log L. To get 10x plus 2 down on the ground, I have to use a log. So I'm going to use the log L. Starts with a log. 6 goes under. 58 divided by 5 comes over here in parentheses. 10x plus 2 goes over there. Right? If I did the loop trick, I would get back to where I started. It's the opposite of the loop trick. The L is the opposite of the loop trick. Now I got to solve for x. Minus 2 from both sides. Well, this is a log. I can't subtract a 2, so I'm just going to put the minus 2 over here. Okay. Divide by 10. Again, that's the exact answer, but they want me to round it. That's what they said in the directions. So I'm going to have to go step by step. So this one's going to take 3 steps to use in the calculator. So the first thing, calculator, I want you to do this with me if you have your phone handy. If not, don't worry about it. Tomorrow you can use a Chromebook, but for today, this guy first. So we're going to go log 58 over 5 divided by log of 6. That's the first thing we're going to do. $58 over 5. 6. That's not our answer. That's just step 1. That gives us the answer to that part. Then I got to subtract 2. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to minus 2. Take my previous answer and minus 2. And then the last thing I got to do is divide by 10. That's the answer I want. Okay. So the 6 by the 0 is in the hundredths. So it's going to stay 6 because the 3 is not high enough. So negative 0.06. Negative 0.06. Done. Okay. All right, last one. Okay, so here's the thing. Step 1 says I want to get this guy by itself. Well, to do that, I got to get rid of the negative 10 in front and the plus 5 at the end. So I'm going to do multiplication last. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. So I get negative 10 times 19 to the 9x minus 2 equals negative 73. Divide by negative 10. Since negative 10 is being multiplied, I'm going to divide by negative 10. Negative divided by a negative makes a positive over a positive. That's why it's not negative anymore. It's positive 79 over 10, or 73 over 10. Okay. Log L. So I have log of 19, parentheses 73 over 10 equals 9x minus 2. Add 2 to both sides. Divide by 9. So that's the exact answer. They want me to round it. So I got to do 3 parts. First part is the log part. Just like I did last time. So log of 73 over 10 divided by log of 19. That's the first thing. So I got to go to my calculator and do that. Once you get that answer, you're going to add 2, get that answer. Last thing, divide by 9. Let's see. Log. 73 over 10. 73 divided by 10. 19. Okay, so I got that number there. I want to take that answer and add 2. And then take that answer, divide by 9, and you got it. 0.297. So the 9 has got to go up, but it has nowhere to go, so it becomes a 0. And the 2 becomes a 3. So 0.30. If I can get this to work. There we go. Done. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Just leave it on desk. All right. Okay, I'm going to pass out tape. Tape that in. Again, if you're missing anything from this chapter, make sure you get it before Wednesday or Thursday so that you get full credit. Yeah, go ahead.